Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Saturday, March 3rd at 9:14 p.m. Mountain Time 2018. You're looking at the UAH satellite-based temperature of the global lower atmosphere. February 28th data is in, and it is dropping, continue to drop. The last 4 data points since November 2017 have been lower and lower and lower. And in the last 4 months, global temperature has dropped 0.42 degrees C. Slow-moving Noreaster kills 8, leaves swaths of the East Coast in the dark. Hundreds of thousands of Americans were without power. 1.6 million or more was the number yesterday. And at least 8 were dead Saturday after Noreaster thrashed the East Coast with heavy winds, rain, and snow on Friday. More than a dozen utility companies reported that hundreds of thousands of their customers were affected by the powerful storm. Reports are in that some people have lost their power for days, weeks, even months. There are power lines lying everywhere and old ladies that need help. So help them out. Governor Andrew Cuomo said 270,000 New Yorkers were out power on Saturday. They were deploying the National Guard. Meanwhile, Newport police in Rhode Island reported a man in his 70s died when he was struck by a wind-felled tree. Early Friday morning, a tree fell in a Virginia home and killed a 6-year-old boy. Stay away from trees, y'all. And that's today's first heads up. Brain Injury Awareness Month is March. And that's a boom. Let's come over to the Weather Ready Nation map. Heavy snow and strong winds in the Rockies, Great Basin. Critical to extreme fire danger in the high plains. A strong winter storm will continue to bring heavy snow and strong winds to the Sierra Nevada, Great Basin, and much of the Rockies this weekend. Ahead of the system, gusty winds and low humidity will create an increasingly wildfire danger in parts of the southern and central high plains this weekend, with extreme fire danger by Sunday. These are areas in the magenta, and the winter storm warnings and watches are here in blue, pink, and purple. And these are winter storm watches and warnings throughout the Sierras all the way down here into Southern California. I'll leave you links to all of these resources, including the short-range public discussion. 40 inches of snow fell in one upstate New York spot. Syracuse, New York, the final snowfall totals for the week's winter storm are in, and they confirmed this one was a monster. 2 spots in Schoharie County had 40 inches of wet, heavy snow in a storm that started Thursday night and finally departed early this morning. Sharon Springs and Richmondville both had 40 inches of snow, according to the final tallies put together by the National Weather Service offices in upstate New York. This is about an hour west of Albany. Just behind them are 2 other Schoharie County spots, Cobleskill with 39.3 and Schoharie with 35.3. The totals were higher than even the highest forecasts, largely because forecasters have no idea what's happening. We're descending into a grand solar minimum, and cosmic ray flux is causing atmospheric compression events and rainfall and snow totals that are unprecedented, and they do not match the modeling because the models do not include cosmic rays as influencing cloud nucleation, unfortunately. But times are changing, and the models may change. Records were shattered across upstate Syracuse. 16.7 inches made Friday the snowiest March 2nd and the 16th snowiest day on record. Buffalo's 12.1 inches was nearly double the previous March 2nd record of 6.5 inches. Did they say double? I believe they did. The wet, heavy snow snapped tree branches across upstate, causing widespread power outages. As of this morning, over 120,000 customers were still waiting to watch TV. Throw them out the window, y'all. Avalanche strikes crowded Mammoth Mountain in California. Essentially, the top of the mountain came loose. An avalanche at Mammoth Mountain early Saturday forced the closure of the popular ski area and triggered search and rescue efforts. It appears that no one has been injured, thankfully. Unfortunately, the heavy snow did lead to one death. A snowboarder died at China Peak after falling headfirst into powder that was so deep He went missing and suffocated to death. This is Fresno, California. The unexpected 5 feet of snow over the last 24 hours allowed China Peak to reopen following an extremely dry winter, but it also serves as a somber reminder of just how treacherous the conditions can be. Officials say 36-year-old Blake Smith of Fresno died Friday after falling headfirst into the deep snow and suffocated. Sorry, Blake. Record snowfall in Calgary as winter storm sweeps over Alberta. 72-hour snow route parking ban begins 10 a.m. Sunday. That's just in 12 hours. A 72-hour snow route parking ban will begin Sunday at 10 a.m. after massive storms sweep over the province, dumping record amounts of snow in Calgary. This is the third parking ban the city has called in recent weeks, affecting streets are marked with the special marker. Environment Canada issued snow warnings for a large swath of the province Saturday morning. Hundreds of crashes around Calgary. Police urge drivers to use caution. Rapidly accumulating snow could make travel difficult in some locations. If visibility is reduced while driving, slow down. March is traditionally one of the snowiest months of the year. The storm has been over 3 days. When you total it all up, over 40 hours, we've seen snow. It snowed continuously from Thursday until now. We're probably dealing with 20 to 30 centimeters. That's a month worth of snow in a day and a half. On Friday, 13 centimeters of snow fell in Calgary, breaking the previous record for that date of 10.2 back to 1939. Back here in the solar minimum of 1617. Shattering it because we have lower TSI. We're going back here to 1415 or earlier. So heads up, Calgary. Records will continue to be broken. There's going to be more snow forecast. There's 3 more systems coming through in March alone, according to the GFS models. Now, the cold snap paralyzes Europe. More die. The death toll from severe weather has risen across Europe, with at least 23 casualties now in Poland alone, amid sub-zero temperatures. There were only 9 dead in Poland yesterday. That is quite an uptick. Shelters have been open as the plight of rough sleepers is major concern. Some 59 people have died across the continent so far. Meanwhile, the extreme cold has forced the closure of airports in Scotland, Switzerland, France, and Ireland, and left hundreds of drivers stranded on snowy highways Thursday. Heavy snow and high winds halted flights in and out of Dublin, and authorities say they are unlikely to resume until Saturday. Irish Rail said no trains are likely to run as well. Now, it's so cold in Amsterdam that they're pimping in a good way. And we're talking back to the Dalton minimum, when it was a regular occurrence to skate in the canals. According to this fellow, it doesn't happen often. Pretty rad. Plenty more of that headed their way. An unusually cold weather gripped Europe. Britain's military was sent out Friday to central and western England to get hospital employees to work and help police rescue people from snowbound vehicles. Nicknamed the Beast from the East. Up to a meter of snow was reported in eastern Ireland, and travelers were stranded south and west of the capital of Dublin. The big chill also froze canals in the Dutch capital of Amsterdam. Ice on the historic Prinsengracht Canal was thick enough for residents to lace up their skates and glide across its frozen surface. Tourists without skates slid across the ice on their buttocks, taking selfies. It's just so cool. And that's a boom. Watch your head. The ice is spreading down in Danish waters. It's a record, and I've translated this article, and it makes absolutely no sense, and I'll share it with you because it's absolutely hilarious. Although there are ice creams in several places, the cold is too late for ice winter. The last week's cold wave was severe, and there was ice cream and 5 degrees of frost. Sounds delicious. But according to the armed forces, there are both lymphangym and several other fjord ice that are very thick. So what they have is extra ice this year. It's unprecedented, and they sold all of their icebreakers in Denmark. Apparently, they were low on money. Everyone was saying it's global warming, so they sold the icebreakers. Now they're stuck. And that's a heads up because the ice is spreading, record high ice in Danish waters. That's thanks to Heinrich Butenhuis. We have an uptick in moderate earthquakes globally. Right now we have 4 and 5 magnitude earthquakes kicking off everywhere in the dozens in the last 24 hours. There are dozens of them, especially down here in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and Solomon Islands. We just had a 5.1 kicking off here. Very fresh one popping off in the Solomons. Uptick here in the Karakorums, up through the Himalayas. Turkey. Uzbekistan. Afghanistan. Kyrgyzstan. And the Aleutians are ringing. But nothing of large magnitude. And that's a good thing. Worldwide volcano news. Reventador volcanic ash advisory. We have Fuego, Ducono, Mayon, and Aoba. Nothing significant. Thankfully. Let's talk about Anita Bailey, PhD, author of Cold Times, Preparing for the Mini Ice Age. She's going to be joining us for 4 radio shows all of March. March is Grand Solar Minimum Preparedness Month, as well as Brain Injury Awareness Month. That's boom. How we can't pack enough good stuff into the month of March. Everyone should be planting seeds, learning how to grow their own food right now. Everyone's doing it. All farmers got their seedlings in. We're planting hundreds of seeds a day. That's how you do it. You just keep going and going and going. Now, Cold Times is a no-holds-barred guidebook to surviving the coming mini ice age, and there's so much information in here. I think that 8 hours with Anita Bailey will be enough for us to go through this book and teach you how to survive and thrive in the future, even if you don't know how to do anything. We're going to talk about the basics from A to B and C to D and all the way to Z. And that's a boom. So that's going to start this Wednesday on our radio show, The Inconvenient Truth, Prepping for the Grand Solar Minimum, which is on Revolution Radio, which you can find at freedomslips.com. That's Studio A from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. That's midnight Eastern Standard, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Pacific. Figure it out. More good news. Region X Radio reached out to me, and we're going to be on the air March 8th. Yes, let's check it out. I think it's March 8th. That's the day after the radio show, Thursday. Yep, Thursday night on Region X Radio. We'll be doing an interview with the guy and a gal. I forget their name. I will look it up for the next show to tell you who's going to be interviewing me, and I have no idea what they're going to be talking about. So, Thursday night, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern on Region X Radio. Just go to regionx.com and hit play, and that's how you use it. It's very simple. So, that's a heads up. I also want to thank Dr. Roy Spencer. Awesome guy, scientist, meteorologist, climatologist, and nothing but the highest esteem by all of us observers, because he is publishing the truth and he's doing it in a timely fashion, and he doesn't care what anyone says because he is providing scientific evidence of the true nature of what's happening with our climate. And for those of us that have been concerned that this is going to be the beginning of the major drop-off, what we're seeing here is a 0.42 degrees C drop-off in global temperature since November. If this continues to ramp up, then we are prepared for quite a ride. Guys, I hope you got something out of the video. Global temperatures are down 0.42 degrees C in the last 4 months. Share this graph with your global warming alarmist friends. Al Gore won the Nobel Prize right here. Global temperatures are 0.2 degrees cooler right now. And that's a heads up. Be safe, everybody.